Welcome to Almost Functional Gaming. We aim to help all followers of Russ and the Allfather to improve on the tabletop. List building, tournament recaps, unit reviews, weekly council of the Fang, and other tips to help us all go from almost functional to fully functional. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out our merch store and Almost Functional score tracker on Amazon.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Almost Functional 40K. Here again with Aiden. What's up, Aiden?
Hey, Matt. How you doing? Glad to be back.
Yeah, always good to be here talking Space Wolves with you.
Totally. Love it.
Cool. So, haven't been doing events, but I heard you got a game in this week.
Yeah, I played a game. Repped another Stormlance game into my friend Dustin's Gladius. He's been on the channel. He's a great player. He's won a couple events here and there. He's been rolling people with his Gladius, his Ultramarines Gladius, for a good 6 months. So I was happy I finally took the win off of him with the new Wolves. So
Cool. What detachment?
I was running Stormlance.
Oh, right. You said that. You just said that.
Yeah. I really love the tool set it offers and the way it changes our data sheets. Yeah. How about you? You get any games this week?
Yeah, I actually went to a GT this weekend, but unfortunately, I had to play Index Wolves, so I did not get any games in with New Wolves.
Yeah. It's kind of like a little bit of a bummer, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bit of a bummer.
Yeah, I noticed my first game or two, I was a little rusty because I had no reps with it since almost 2 months since I'd played Index Wolves.
It's almost like, you got to remember how to play them again because we're so focused on all these new rules, new detachments, new data sheets.
Yep, yeah, because I was out of the country for a couple of weeks, and by the time I got back, New Wolves had dropped with all the leaks, and so I've been play testing them ever since. So, and now I got an event this weekend. Leading up to ATC, I got a couple events, all going to be old Index Wolves.
All old Wolves, dang man. I mean,
and I'm worried ATC I'm going to have to do old Wolves too. So, but I got someone running Knights on my team, so I can't do my Canis Wolves build. So
okay, you got to do a different Wolf build.
So I have to redesign a whole new Index Wolves for ATC.
That's such a bummer.
Unless Wolves release this weekend, if we get the sign for the pre-order this weekend, then I think the rules will technically be legal just in time because their cutoff is the 7th. But if they don't come out this weekend with the Sunday preview thing, then I'm 99% sure I'm going to have to run Index.
Yeah. I just want them to drop them second wave. New models, the combat patrol. We can finally start playing in tournaments with our detachments.
Yep, absolutely. Speaking of detachments, Aiden and I are going to start slowly building lists for the 12 different detachments that Space Wolves have access to.
Yeah, what a heavy amount of detachments.
Yeah, there's 7 in the Marine book. Then there's Librarius Conclave and Champions of Fenris from Grotmis, and then the 3 sagas in the new book. So tonight I am going to be doing First Company. So we'll go ahead and start with the First Company list, and then after that, Aiden's gonna choose detachment. We're gonna try to stay away from the sagas, Gladius, Stormlance, to start with, because everybody's talking about those. Everybody's been talking builds those.
Totally.
We'll get to those eventually, but we're going to try to do some stuff that people aren't talking about. And we're not saying these are going to be better than those, but just what options do we have?
If you are running this attachment, what is the best way to run it with Space Wolves?
And who knows? We might find some weird tech, a weird list that, you know what? That might be strangely anti-meta and fun and worth taking.
Yeah, might as well try it. So go ahead and tell us about First Company Task Force.
We're going to be using List Forge here tonight because it's the only thing I found that we can use that actually has the new points in it.
First Company Task Force.
Yeah, so it's called. And I'll spell first right. Lead not working. All right. Being weird. There we go. All right. So warmer, and then if you go to, oops, I forgot this thing was weird like this. If you go to List Forge and you want to do the new wolves, you got to download the one that says LF at the end. The other one will have regular wolves, so you can still use it to do regular wolves. Create roster. This is on an emulator to make it seem like a phone, so it doesn't work. It's certain places this may be a little annoying as I'm doing this, but we're going to make it work the best we can.
Okay. First company task force.
First company. All right. Next, let's look at first company. This, I believe, has the rules in it. All right. So with first company, once for battle in your command phase, you can use the ability if you do until start of your next command phase. Each time a model from your army with oath ability makes an attack that targets your oath, the moment target, you can re-roll the wound roll.
Wow. That is really powerful. Rerolling hits and wounds. Once per game. But yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, so if you're fighting like Eldar, it's not going to be that good. But if you're fighting knights or something, you can have one turn to be really, really go hard into their best things. All right. So in this, there we go. I have to do it with my arrow key, not the. So we're going to take Arjak. We're going to take Bjorn. We're going to take Logan.
Okay.
So Bjorn for the extra CP. So I think he's going to probably end up in most of the builds, no matter what detachment.
Yeah, CP is always great.
Arjak and Logan are the only options we have to lead Space Wolf Terminators, Wolfguard Terminators. And then we're going to add a few other characters in here. We will add a Captain in Terminator armor. And once I get these all added in, I'll go back and add why we're doing them. Chaplain in Terminator armor. And then 2 Iron Priests. So the Captain in Terminator armor, he lets you reroll charges made for his unit.
Okay.
And once per battle round, you get the free CP.
Okay.
So that's super simple, super good thing to take. We're going to give him, where is it? Rights of War, which basically gives him +1 OC, and once per game, he can give his whole unit +1 OC.
That's pretty good. Terminators do suffer from an OC problem.
Yes. And I already played around with this list, so some of this is just me adding stuff in I did earlier when I was playing around with it. And then the Chaplain, we're going to give Imperium Sword, which gives him +1 attack, and once per game, he can give his whole unit +1 attack.
That's very solid.
Yep. All right. Unfortunately, this doesn't show the strats, so I'm actually going to read through some of these strats before we start building the rest of the list, because that's
definitely
on these detachments. The strats really, really are what make these lists work. So let's see here: Codex, First Company, Stratagems. All right, so Armor Contempt. We all know Armor Contempt. That's solid strat, especially on Terminators. So then we have Heroes of the Chapter, which is your shooting or fight phase. 1 Terminator, Blade Guard, Stern Guard, or Vanguard squad. Till the end of the phase, each time a model unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit. If the unit is below below half strength, add 1 to the wound.
So it's mainly +1 to hit, although if you are in that odd case, you have a couple members of your squad left. +1 to hit and wound.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Yeah, so that's okay strat, not amazing. Terrifying Proficiency. Your fight phase, Terminator, Blade Guard, Stern Guard, Vanguard, a lot of these affect those, which does work with Wolfguard Terminators, but unfortunately Head Takers do not have the Blade Guard keyword, which is why in this list, even though I love Head Takers, you will not see Head Takers in this list.
Right, they don't benefit anything from this attachment.
Yep. So basically, you put this on your unit in the fight phase. In your opponent's next command phase, each enemy unit within 3 inches of yours must take a battle shock test. If the unit taking the test is below half strength, subtract 1 from that test. Enemy units affected by this stratagem do not need to take any other battle shock. So basically, you can force units that don't need to take a battle shock to take one, and units that already have to take one are basically going to be at -1.
-1. Very solid. I mean, taking random battle shocks can sometimes force a 5-point swing on primary.
Well, because the nice thing about it is, it's that you don't take it immediately. Yeah, you take it in their command phase. You could shut down some of their primary. So then we have Duty and Honor. Your movement phase: 1 Terminator, Blade Guard, Stern Guard, Vanguard. The objective marker within range of an objective marker you control. That objective marker remains under your control even if you have no models within range of it until your opponent controls it at the start or end of any turn.
That's
So it's
really
not-
good sticky timing.
Yeah. So this one is at the end of any turn. So it's not like any phase they can shut it off. And it's
Right.
movement phase. So it doesn't say start of or end of. So you could sticky objective, then leave it, or you could
Mhm.
walk onto an objective and sticky it. So I just really like that it has that flexibility. So this is one of the things I really like about this detachment. This is another really good one. Orbital teleportation. End of your opponent's fight phase. Terminators. Remove the unit from the battlefield and place it into strategic reserve. Arrive back on the battlefield in the reinforcement step of your next movement phase using Deep Strike.
Okay. Redeploy Terminators. That's pretty
Can't
good.
use it if they're in range. So the nice thing about this is, if you take it mostly, you can start a Terminator squad on the board. If you go second, pick it up at the end of your opponent's first turn, bring it and Logan or another unit he picks down. So basically, have 2 units that can Terminator squads deep striking turn 1.
That is a lot of board presence you can take up turn 1.
Yes, and so you can put RJX squad down. You can do it with the captain squad, which will basically get to jump up for free because he gets the free CP, which is probably how I do it.
Yeah, totally. Space Wolf 223 saying, "Howdy guys, you going over a list?
We're building a list.
We are building Space Wolf lists for every single Space Wolf detachment. We're doing 2 or 3 today. We'll see how far we get. We're starting with First Grade Company, focused on Stern Guard, Blade Guard, Terminators, and Vanguard veterans.
So First Company Task Force. I'm calling it First Grade Company. So that's just a really great mobility strat for Terminators
Totally.
because the Space Wolf Terminators are moving 6, but the other Terminators, if you take more in this list, are going to be moving 5.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one is Legendary Fortitude. Your opponent's charge phase just after an enemy unit ends a charge move, Terminator, Blade Guard, Stern Guard, or Vanguard. Till the end of your turn, each time an attack is allocated to a model in your unit, -1 damage.
That is
This
powerful.
This is a combat -1 damage.
Still, though, that just completely shuts down any combat unit.
No, that's great.
That's 2 or 3 damage.
Yep. Because sometimes you're stuck only having it in the shooting phase, and you're trying not to get shot anyway. Now you get stuck in our Jack squad, or the Space Marine Terminator squads can now be -1 to wound, -1 damage, fight on death with RJack. Those squads are going to be tough to deal with in combat.
Yeah, I'm realizing, and we'll talk about it in a sec when you start adding other stuff, but Wolfguard Terminators are really hard to shift, especially if you have access to AOC and any of the Space Marine attachments.
Right. So now we have AOC and -1 damage in combat.
That is, there's nothing that's going to shift that in combat except for Angron. I mean, even Angron is going to have a hard time. It's probably going to take 2 turns to do it.
That's the thing. When I started reading back through this, I was like, you know what? I was joking around in our chat the other day about doing a Terminator list, and I'm like, you know what? This actually might have some legs.
Yeah.
All right. So RJack and Logan we take. They're going to leave. Then the Terminator Chaplain gives you +1 to wound.
Yep.
Which is always really, really nice. And while he's leading a unit, models in the unit have a Feel No Pain 4-up against mortal wounds.
Amazing. That is so powerful.
So a lot of psychic attacks are mostly mortal. Anything that does dev wounds is mortal. Because him and the Librarian are same points. The Librarian gives you a 4-up only against psychic, but he does give you sustained hits. So I was like, man, Thunderhammer, put him in Assault Terminators, Thunderhammers with sustained hits would be good. But I just think having the mortal or the Feel No Pain against all mortals is just
really
a little better. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a wonderful model.
The Iron Priest is, well, pretty self-explanatory. All right. So I'm going to go down here to infantry. So this is going to be a Terminator heavy build. So this is where most of what we're going to have comes from. All right. So go down here, and there's a few things we always take. We're going to take an infiltrator squad. We're going to be up. We're going to be up. Yeah, we're going to be uppy, downy, deep striking in your face. I don't want you doing the same thing. This kind of just keeps. And depending on certain matchups, if they don't have a lot of up-down, you may leave something else back there and put them out to bubble. And, just I always like them. They're 100 points, but I always find infiltrators are worth their points. Mm-hmm. Scouts, a little sacrificial. This way, because the one thing about a deep striking army like this is people that also have scouting or infiltrating stuff could try to bubble you back early. So you can infiltrate your scouts up to push their infiltrates back and then scout back.
Yeah.
So just, so scouts are really useful in this list. Terminator Assault Squad and Wolfguard Terminators.
Yeah.
So this being a Terminator heavy list, we are probably going to end up a little short on stuff. So I'm going to run. Oops, way too many. So we're going to run 5 Thunderhammer Storm Shield guys
With the captain.
with the captain, and
Mhm.
also with the chaplain.
Oh, wow.
So the chaplain squad, reroll charges, get assault terminators in. That's good, and extra CP for doing stuff. It's probably the unit I start on the table and pick up. The Terminator Skull Squad with the Storm Shields, because regular Terminators can't take Storm Shields. So I'm really teching into the 4 wound stuff.
Yeah.
So these guys are all going to be 4 wounds with access to -1 damage in this detachment, 4 feel no pain against mortals, and +1 to wound with Thunderhammers.
Yeah. Hogfather saying, evening. Just got home, wiped the World Eaters with Index Wolves.
Yep.
Great, man. I love wiping World Eaters. They've kind of been a bane for me running Index Wolves, but I'm glad you were able to take them down.
Yeah, well, especially if he, because some of the stuff World Eaters do now is like mortal stuff. So if you're running Champions of Ross and have access to that, I don't know what he ran. They actually are pretty good into that.
Yeah. And finally, Brian's showing up saying he loves that we got a Space Wolf specific podcast. Yeah, man, that's the whole point. We're taking up space and howling at the moon, and I'm glad you're vibing with it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, cool. So then we have the Wolfguard Terminators. Obviously, that's what Logan and Arject are running with because that's all they can do. So this will be my 1 3-wound Terminator in this squad. It's going to take the Relic Axe. I'm not running the Assault Cannon just because I don't think it's worth it.
It's not really worth it.
Oh. All right, so then we'll run 5 or 4 of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll duplicate that. So both squads the same. Both squads with 1 Relic Axe and then the guys. That leaves us 430 points. And this is where we get the vehicles
Get
that
into
are
those vehicles
supported by the Iron Priest to just give some fire support to these Terminators. And then we're going to go double Predator.
Man, I really like this loadout that you've got on vehicles. You might see very similar things. Lancer, 2 Iron Priests, Lancer, Annihilator. That, I think, is a very preferred loadout. I ran triple Annihilator, and I found that I was lacking in damage outside of 24 inches, and it was hard to get within 24 inches on the first turn or 2.
Yeah, unless you're taking that 3rd Iron Priest, I think for every Predator, you need an Iron Priest. Because when they're just sitting there at 3 shots, they're not that great. 6 shots and 8 on the turn to shoot the Hunter Killer. They're really, really good. The Lancer's only 2 shots, but he has that free built-in reroll on himself, so it just helps with his efficiency. So I don't mind just taking a Lancer that's not getting buffed, although if they're really sitting back, you pop one of the rapid fires on the Lancer, just put 3 shots at 36.
At 36, yeah, that was a bit of my downfall. I couldn't get rapid fire on my Predators early on, so I was firing single shot Predators at 30 inches, and I was like, I really wish I had a Lancer here.
Yeah,
the rapid fire Lancer at 36 inches is a choice, you know.
Yep. So in this list, you're a little limited on units, and we got this little thing up here, but that's just because I didn't click on Logan as the Warlord. So Logan's the Warlord. I just didn't click that. So this is a fully legal list. We got really good shooting to sit back. We got infiltrators to protect the home. We got scouts to do some secondary stuff, and then we got 4 Terminator squads.
Ooh, man. Oof.
Yep. 2 assault, 2 Wolfguard. Everybody has a character. Basically 4 wounds across the table except the sergeants and the 2 Wolfguards, so we can have that 3 damage Relic Axe. So you are going to be a little short on mission play units, so you're going to have to use your Iron Priest for that sometimes. Possibly give up a Annihilator or Lancer shot and only shoot with 2 tanks, or maybe 1 Terminator squad. So there's going to be times where you may have to choose one of your units that normally is a damage dealer to score you points depending on what's going on in the game. So that's the real flaw with this list.
Yeah, but you have 20 bodies that are all 2 up, 4 up, 4 wounds. Some of them are -1 to wound. If you're charged them, you're -1 damage. They're AOC here.
Yep.
This is tough to chew through for any list.
Oh yeah, now what was the special rule on assault terminators? I can't remember it. I saw
I
it.
think you take a battle shock test when they charge you.
Oh yeah, each time they end a charge, and enemy units in the game must take a battle shock. They get the teleport. All right, so that's okay. The regular terminators are 10 points cheaper, so you could always swap these out for those. And they believe I get +1 to hit or something into the oath target. I believe. I think they hit on
Yeah.
2s against the oath target, which is okay. But hitting on 3s with full rerolls into the oath target already, and you got your once per game +1 to wound, or what was it? Reroll to, I don't even remember what the army rule was again.
Once per game reroll wounds against the oath target.
Reroll once, yeah. Yeah, so it's +1 that regular Marines get. So I don't really think you need that because they only really get storm bolters other than one heavy weapon, which really isn't that efficient. And they can't take the thunder hammer, so you're really looking at power fists or like maybe putting chain fists in, but they don't hit that well. So I think this is the way I would enjoy it. And you don't have to worry about lightning claw terminators because the Space Wolf, the Wolfguard terminators, have the mass-crafted weapon, so they're a little better at killing the hordes.
So overall, how do you feel about First Company Task Force for the Wolves?
I think this could really, really be difficult for people to shift.
Mm-hmm.
Space Wolf Terminators move a little faster than normal, and you have the uppy downy strat for Terminators. You can sticky an objective, which also helps with not having scoring units. So you
Totally.
run these Terminators across the board, sticky your expansion objective, and then have infiltrators or scouts or something over there to stop people dropping on it. And now you don't even have to have any models on it; just have people screening it out, so they have to come through your Terminators to try to turn it back off.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I mean, I also, I don't know if we'll ask this, but if you're running all Terminators, do you think this is the best detachment to do it for Space Wolves?
Yes, probably because there's so many strats and stuff that
Specific
specifically
to
go to
Terminators.
Terminators, and the
Mm-hmm.
up down for Terminators is amazing. So yeah, if you want to go Terminator heavy, and you could even drop the shooting and put more Terminators in if you wanted to. Like you could go more Terminators if you wanted, but I think the supporting them with the shooting is the most efficient way to do it.
Yeah.
Because especially since Space Wolves can only have 2 characters that can leave Termies.
Yeah.
So you
None
could
of them
take
can
a
take
third
relics.
Terminator unit, but Wolfguard, but it'd be by itself. You could buff some of their unit up to 10 mans, but now you're really, really running down. I think the 5 mans are really, really just good delivery system for the characters.
Really good. Yeah. Solid. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this will be fun. I'll probably run this at some point once I get I don't have enough Terminators to do it now because I'm proxying my regular Terminators as Wolfguard right now in my test games.
Yeah.
So once the Wolfguard Terminators get released and I build them, then I can run this list, and I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. I think it'd be really fun.
Yeah, I think there's probably stuff that's good at picking up Terminators, like that will give this a problem, but there's also armies that just won't be able to deal with it.
Yeah. This could be, I feel like this is a pretty, it's a skew build, all Terminators.
Oh yeah,
Armies that can deal with Terminators, armies that can't deal with Terminators.
yeah.
Long time listener.
Yeah.
Love what
Dan,
you guys do. Just want to say thank you. And question is, can we get Dan from Hobby Goblins on the Wolf Council? That would be awesome. Ask Dan. We'd love
yeah.
for him to come
Dan
on.
is in our Space Wolf chat. I invite him all the time. Unfortunately, the schedule for when we do the Wolf Council and the schedule for what they have him doing over there, he just really doesn't necessarily have the time. But we definitely, some of the stuff we talk on here and some of the stuff he does on the channel is definitely shared input from the Space Wolf chat we all are in. So definitely some of our opinions have input from Dan, and definitely some of Dan's lists have input from us. We all talk. It's just, unfortunately, schedules don't line up to get him on here because he's on their channel so much, especially now with the new Wolves. He just doesn't have
He's
a
doing
lot of
great,
free
man.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to find time for family too. So, but no, I'd love to have Dan. Dan's welcome on this channel anytime he's free. He knows that.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, we'd love to have him. And Mike, thanks for tuning in during the live stream. Peach is saying, doing hedges, what I missed. So we are going through all of the Space Wolf attachments, all 12 of them. There are 12 potential attachments, and we are writing lists for each one of them. Starting with some of the lesser known ones. Obviously, you're going to, the Sagas, Gladius, Stormlance, maybe even Ironstorm are all pretty pretty well known, but we're going to take a look at some of the lesser known detachments first to see how would we build a list with Space Wolves.
Yep. Tonight, the idea was each of us to pick our Hear Me Out detachment. And that first company is mine. Like, I would enjoy playing this. I think it could do well. This could win some smaller events. I don't know if it's winning like a major, but this could win an RTT, maybe a small GT. I think this could do something like that. But it's not going to win like Noverse or anything crazy like that, which I think there are some detachments that will, if we still have the points and stuff we have now, when we actually get fully released, could have potential to make noise at real events.
Totally. I'm really excited for that.
All right. So that's my first company or first task force build. So what detachment did Aiden want to try out?
I wanted to try Firestorm because I think, believe it or not, we can be a very heavy shooting army and do well with that. And I think Firestorm lends pretty well to what we do. Let me talk about Firestorm while you get things set up. So Firestorm, all ranged weapons get assault and +1 strength within 12. There are some non-tank range weapons that I think do really well in Firestorm, but for the most part, it's going to be guns with rapid fire with assault and +1 strength when they get close. And there's some all-star units, all-star vehicles that are really great in this. The enhancements are okay. There's one for ignoring modifiers. There's one for +3 strength, which is always great. There's one for flipping to a 6 hit or a saving throw. That's pretty solid. There's -1 damage or change to damage 1 if it's Melta or Torrent. Again, nothing is like you really want to go out of your way to include this in your list. The strats are pretty solid. 3 of them involve transports. I still don't know if taking a lot of transports is a viable way to take Firestorm, but I am looking at it. Like, there is a funny thing in Firestorm where you can jump back into transports after fighting. So I'm sorry, after fighting with some caveats, but I'll go through them in order. Armor of Contempt, pretty standard. Crucible of Battle, only on infantry, but it's shooting or fight phase. So this is really solid for buffing shooting and fight phase. Infantry, while you're within 6 inches of a unit, +1 to wound. So it's always, when you're in melee, you're always going to get +1 to wound. You only get it against one target, and it has to be the closest target. But this could be pretty solid on some infantry shooting units, Eradicators, Hellblasters. I mean, even other stuff like Flamers. I'm going to talk about Grey Hunters. We'll talk about it, okay? We'll talk about it. I don't know if I'm going to get there. Rapid Embarkation. So at the end of any fight phase, and this is kind of where it gets a little interesting, if there is a transport, the empty transport wholly within 6 inches of another unit, you can embark into the transport. There's a couple caveats. So you can't do it if you're in engagement range. You can't do it if you can embark normally, or you disembark from the transport that turn. So you can't necessarily jump out of the transport, go kill something, jump back in, because that would be way too busted. But what you can do, because Space Wolves move fast, is you can start on the board in a staging ruin, then go charge something, kill it, hop back into an impulsor behind a wall. That is something you can do. So there are some options there.
Now, here's a question. Did it say you can't do it if you got out of a transport or that transport?
A transport that turn. So you can't hop from one to another.
Okay.
That would be funny. Immolation protocols, 2 CP, dev wounds on torrent weapons. So kind of interesting. There are a couple good torrent weapon units that I would consider. We'll talk about them. But it's hefty. Onslaught of Fire, if you shoot at a vehicle. Sorry, no. Onslaught of Fire, this is not. If you disembark from a transport and you shoot at the closest unit within 12, +1 to hit. If you destroy a unit, battle shock. That's pretty terrible. Last one, Burning Vengeance. If a transport of yours gets shot, you can spend 1 CP, disembark a unit inside, and shoot back a shot, which actually is pretty good if given the right unit. So how do I want to build this list? I think this list is going to be mainly a shooting army with a bunch of meaty units in the middle that are just going to tie you up and gunk you up. So we'll start off with Logan and 5 Terminators, because that is always a great unit to just tie things up, gum things up. It starts on the board turn 1. It has Vect. It's really durable. And it can get +1 to wound. So it's quite solid.
All right, so Logan and 5
Wolfguard Terminators. Mm-hmm.
Wolfguard Terminators. All right. Down here. Boom. All right, how do you want that?
Always with 1 Great Axe and 4 Storm Shields.
Yep. All right. Yep. So we're on 100% on the same page with how we like our turns.
I think that's the most fun way. I think you can take the 5th Storm Shield for more durability, but the Great Axe with 3 damage is kind of just fun. And that extra wound most of the time doesn't matter.
Yeah, because I think you're already getting the 4 up, luckily, all the time with Terminators. Yeah, so all you're gaining is the wound. So, yes, you can, just pick and choose when you put your wounds on him. So it really doesn't matter that much.
Yeah. Hogfather is asking what program we're using. We're using List for it. Just has the new Space Wolf units and points.
Yep. It's only available for phone, so I have to use an emulator to get it to show up here, which is why it's a little wonky with me trying to scroll through this. I'm having to use the keyboard and the mouse. But on your phone, it works really, really nice.
Right. So this is a shooting list. What is going to make this work? There are 2 support pieces that add to shooting damage. One of them is Combi Lieutenant. Always great. Great to infiltrate, to just take up space in the middle, to be a lone op, to be a reactive move.
Yep.
The second is Incursors. Actually really good. They get +1 to hit if they shoot something, and they scout 6. And they have a bunch of chainsword attacks, so they're a really good skirmish unit early on, or they can hold your backfield. They add to your shooting damage, especially when you can only oath 1 thing.
And they get a Haywire Mine.
They get a Haywire Mine. Yeah, they're just a really solid all-around unit. I love taking them in other lists. So,
and shooting, they're really, really good for a shooting army.
What units do you think benefit the most from Assault and +1 strength within 12?
Assault and +1 strength within 12. Well, we mentioned them earlier. I think that could be good for Grey Hunters.
Grey Hunters.
Yeah.
Could be good. Any vehicles that come to mind immediately? Vehicles that want to get close, that love Assault, and +1 strength. What if you rapid fire that vehicle, give it Assault, +1 strength?
Assault, well, all the vehicles like Assault. Some of the vehicles that I really like don't necessarily really need +1 strength, but the Assault would still be really good on them.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we're going to take some Predator Annihilators. We're going to take some Iron Priests. So let's go ahead and put 2 and 2 in. 2 Iron Priests in, 2 Predator Annihilators in anyway. Because Predator Annihilators do the most damage in almost every attachment out of any of our vehicles. If they get with caveat, they need to be within 24 inches.
And I just want to apologize to all other Marine players for the point increase that is coming to Predator Annihilators because of us Space Wolf players.
Absolutely. The one person that was running them with their Imperial Fists, we're sorry,
Yes.
But there's one unit that I'm thinking of that just really benefits. Hogfar saying Brutalis Red Dot would love Assault. Yeah, Assault, rapid fire on its Twin Link Multi-Multi, strength 10. It does like Assault, but however, it can't charge if it advances in this attachment. So it's not necessarily the best taker for it. What I'm thinking of is Storm Speeder Hammer Strikes, because they pair well with the Predator Annihilators. They can ignore cover for the Predator Annihilators. They have 7 guns that are all strength 9, and they move 14 inches, and it flies. So I would take 2 of these in this attachment, 2 of these Hammer Strikes. And it gets Assault, so you're moving 14 inches with advance with fly. And all of its guns that are strength 9 go to strength 10, which is a huge break point. You're now shooting Terminators on 2s. You're now winning Rhinos on 3s, Predators on 4s. With the rapid fire also, you get 4 more shots at strength 10. So for 125 points, you're getting 11 strength 10 shots that are advancing and shooting OC3, T9, wounds 11. Fantastic.
I got to start building up my collection of Storm Speeders. I don't own any because I was never big on them, but as I have a feeling in Marine 2.0, a lot of the firstborn tanks are going to start slowly disappearing. So I have to get some more of the Primaris shooting vehicles.
The much rumored.
Yep.
Yeah. From here, I think I want one more unit to be very grindy in the center. I want it to just take up space, have OC, be durable. And for that reason, I think I always love Thunderwolf Cavalry.
You do?
Yeah, always love them. I mean, I would say 2 units of 3 would be really good skirmish pieces early on.
Oh, yeah.
They're super durable. They don't really need any attachment rules. They just do everything they want by themselves.
Yep.
They're
Yeah.
good. They're just going to touch things and tie them up. They're just going to be really durable. Your opponent doesn't want to shoot at them because then whatever's going to shoot at them needs to be shooting at tanks. I really like Thunderwolf Cavalry here.
Yeah, most of my test games running 1 or 2 of these, they're great units for skirmishing. Fortunately, the first company list we built earlier, the Terminator and characters were so pointy. I couldn't afford any little units like this, but I love the Thunderwolves in most of my builds.
They're so good in almost every attachment.
Yeah.
Now, there's one other unit that I think really does well in Firestorm, and that is Repulsor Executioner with Eradicators. So that is the next combo, and I'll tell you why. Well, first of all, Repulsor gets Assault. If it gets to be within 12, all of its Piddly guns go up a strength, which is huge because it all has strength 4 now. It goes to strength 5, and strength 8 goes to strength 9, and strength 5 goes to strength 6. The Eradicators love Assault +1 strength. The other big thing is the Disembark shooting strat is now really scary with 3 Eradicators because you get close to the Eradicators, you get close to repulsors you want to kill, you shoot the repulsor, the Eradicators get out. They're now strength 10, rerolling all hits and wounds and damage, shooting at you for 1 CP in your turn. So they get a free shooting phase. Yeah,
and strength 10 is a good breakpoint for them because now all of a sudden they're winning those T9 vehicles on 3s and all those T10 vehicles on 4s instead of 5s.
Totally.
That's it.
And then we have about, like I said, we have about 400 points left. I want to mention Grey Hunters because Grey Hunters love they're overpriced. So caveat before I get down this rabbit hole, this is an overpriced unit. But Grey Hunters love Assault. They love +1 strength, and they love +1 wound. And I think you put all 3 of those together, they could become a little scary because strength 4 rerolls to wound on objectives is just only okay. It's only ever going to be okay. But now you look at strength 5, they get close enough, you're at strength 5 +1 to wound with full rerolls. Now you're talking, unless the opponent has a 2-up save, you're putting a lot of wounds on your target. And then that's before they charge, which they can also get +1 to wound and then rerolls to wound in melee as well. So I think because I don't know if this is actually going to be a really good unit, but I'm going to include it in here. So put it in a unit of Grey Hunters.
He did it. I actually saw there's another attachment. I'm not going to leak it, but where I thought, all right, this is great for Grey Hunters. Oh, Battle Line. I got to go to Battle Line on infantry.
And the rabbit hole goes deeper. It goes way deeper because Grey Hunters are 18 points a model. They're almost the same as like Heavy Intercessors. Heavy Intercessors cost almost the same as Grey Hunters. Can you believe that? But boy, Grey Hunters are so much less survivable. So how do you make Grey Hunters survivable? And this is where the rabbit hole gets really deep. You give them 18-inch loan op. And how do you give the Grey Hunters 18-inch loan op that also adds to their shooting and melee? Inquisitor Kyria Draxus that could join to any battle line.
Okay.
So here it is. Here it is. No, the rabbit hole goes deeper, Matt. It goes way deeper.
Okay, I'm in now. Okay, now.
So unfortunately, you can't choose allied units in this list, Forge, because it's like a beta, but you can put in a 95-point unit wherever.
All
right. As an HQ.
Right, or we'll just go to 1905. So Draxus is in here.
So here's what Draxus does, right? Draxus shoots 10 shots that are all 2 damage. Half of them are strength 6 with sustain 2. Half of them are strength 4 with dev and anti-infantry 4+. So rerolls to wound with anti-infantry 4+ dev. Incredible. She doesn't get +1 strength. She doesn't get assault, but one of her guns already has assault. However, she does benefit from rerolls to wound if you're shooting at an objective. So all of those strength 6 and strength 4 dev anti-infantry 4+, get reroll wounds. And now you're starting to be like, whoa, it's kind of crazy. Furthermore, she also can get benefit from the +1 to wound. The +1 to wound strat is not locked to Adeptus. So you pick an Adeptus Astartes unit, which this Great Hunter Kyriadraxis is. It gets +1 to wounds, all models in it, not just models with that keyword. So now she is shooting at +1 to wound, rerolling wounds. And now her Power Fist, she has 3 Strength 6 Power Fist attacks, all get rerolled to wound in melee. So here's the thing. You start them off the board. And normally the problem is this is a 6-inch moving infantry unit. You're not going to get anywhere fast.
7.
7-inch. Sorry, 7 with assault, which is good. You can start them off the board, and because they are a Space Wolf keyworded unit, you can bring them in turn 1 with Logan on the side. Because you can use Kyriadraxis' ability in reserve, you can be lone opt when you come in 18 inches on turn 1 and start on your expansion objective with 30 OC. That's 18-inch lone op. Anyway, that's my long spiel. I'm trying to make Great Hunters work, but
all right,
yeah. So quite good.
So got like 135 points left.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could go down another Predator. You could get another Storm Speeder. You could take some more skirmishing units. All very good. Another unit that I want to mention that went down that would be really good in Firestorm is Vanguard Veterans with Hand Flamers.
I was going to say that we haven't done anything for Immolation Protocol, which is a big strat in this detachment.
Yeah, you can get a lot of mortal wounds going on.
I have a friend who plays Salamanders, and he lights people up with that Vanguard squad.
Yeah.
He deep strikes them in and just lets it rip. And their pistol, so even if they get in combat, they can still do it into combat.
Mm-hmm. They have a great Overwatch into anything that's not like 2-up save or T8.
Yeah.
Because
he can't Immolation on the Overwatch, unfortunately. That's still 10 guys with flamers.
10 guys with flamers. What's up, Hunter? Yeah, I thought about including a 10-man. I think a 10-man could be really good.
Oh, yeah.
Because it went down 30 points, 190 points. They have decent melee. You can get +1 to wound in melee, too. You can get +1 to wound in shooting. You can get dev wounds in shooting. You can Overwatch well. It's like a pretty solid threat. Yeah, but for the last 135 points, let's throw in a Vanguard Veteran with Hand Flamers, just 5-man. They're good skirmishing. They're good, get it moving the board quick.
Yeah.
And then the last 40 points we'll throw for some Fenrisian Wolves, because why not?
Well, Fenrisian Wolves are 40 points now.
Yeah, they're 40 points.
All right, so Vanguard.
Vanguard Vets with Hand Flamers.
I'm not going to go there. So they have Hand Flamers. I'm not going to go through all that on those.
Yeah, don't worry about it. And then Fenrisian Wolves. See, that's the list. It can get onto objectives early with the outflanking Grey Hunters and Kyriadraxis. It can shoot pretty well. It's fast. It's durable. You got a lot to chew through with the vehicles, the Terminators, and the Thunderwolves. Yeah, it's got a couple tricks. You definitely don't want to shoot the Repulsor Executioner if you don't plan on killing it in one activation.
Yeah. All right. So we got. It's pretty solid here. You got. Let's go up here to the top. Got Logan with Termes.
Mm-hmm.
Scroll. There goes. I can't wait till new recruit and stuff has the new points, so I can actually use them on here. All right. So Logan, Termes, 2 Iron Priests buffing the vehicles. So these are going to be your only 3 options for giving those Fenrisian Wolves OC, which isn't necessarily always needed. You can just use them to screen and skirmish, but it is nice when you can pull it off. Mm-hmm. Combi Lieutenant, always a good little piece.
Yep.
Easily swapped out for scouts if you prefer to go that route, but just same thing, tech piece for infiltrating, scoring points, being annoying. Grey Hunters, a lot of the buffs in here actually make them cool, especially with Draxis, the way you're talking about running it. That seems like that could really, really catch people off guard.
It's a really fun unit, it has a lot of cool rules.
Yep. And for anybody who's just catching up, that's why we're at 1905, because we can't add Draxus on this app, but she's 95, so we're at 2000. But Draxus is joined to this Grey Hunter squad.
Finn, this app is ListForge. You can go online. It has the new codex points and rules.
Yes, you can't add allies, but otherwise it has access to all the detachments and all the new Space Wolf points.
Yep. Hunter's saying hype for some wolves, calling this old wolf back into action. Yeah, I'm glad the new range refresh brought some old people out of dormancy. Brought them out of their ice caves.
Yeah, we're getting new wolves, we're getting old wolves, and some of us been around the whole time. The community is really, really growing, which is amazing.
That's awesome.
All right, so then you got your Eradicators and a Repulsor Executioner.
Yep, great combo in Firestorm.
No fire, what's it called? Fire hatch or whatever.
Fire discipline.
No, where you can shoot out of the vehicle.
Firing deck. No, Eradicators cannot go in anything that has a firing deck, unfortunately.
Oh, that would be great. All right, so Incursors, giving your shooting +1 to hit.
Yep.
Vanguard Vets with Flamers.
Mm-hmm.
Just decent for 95 points. They give you access to a little Immolation Protocol burst on something.
Yeah.
The Terminators are running with Logan. Start them on the table, deep strike them turn 1, whatever you want to do with them, outflank them. Or not outflank them. If you want to outflank Draxus, then they could always rapid ingress later. Lots of things to do with the Terminators now. 2 units of Thunderwolf Cav.
Always
probably,
great.
For their points, the best skirmish unit in the game.
Totally. I would take these over Spawn. I would take these over Assault Intercessors. I would take these over JPI.
Hunters asked me what Drax adds to Grey Hunters. I know you want.
Oh man, I went down the spiel. Don't get me started again. But essentially, it gives them durability. It adds to their damage. It's a really great tech piece for the Grey Hunters.
Yeah, we can lone up them.
Mm-hmm. They can come in on turn 1. They can reroll wounds. Draxus gets reroll wounds. So she buffs their durability, and she gives them more damage. They buff her damage. So yeah, that's a pretty solid combo, and it's 31 OC. Like, what? When do you need that much OC?
When you're playing freaking Knights.
Yeah, that's probably right.
All right, Formation Wolves, another cheap little skirmish unit that now has access to OC if you position right, which was the only thing I hated on them before. Now I run them in a lot of my lists, string them back out to, no Bjorn in this list, I just noticed.
No Bjorn. So here's the thing. You're not really using a lot of strats.
No strat. Not a lot of strats.
Maybe. +1 to wound, maybe. Like you need to be really close to use it, and you're going to use it once a game, maybe twice a game. Immolation protocols, you would normally, if you're going heavy flamer, you would need Bjorn. Yeah. Because I'm not going heavy flamer, I'm not going to use that strat very often. The other strats are super situational, so this is not a strat heavy detachment.
And then vehicles, this is where a lot of the ones, we got 2 Predators with the Iron Priest. I mean, those of you who don't know, that's basically 6 shots a turn, 8 shots the first time they shoot once the enemy gets within 24.
They get assault, and sometimes strength, the +1 strength within 12 might matter against T12, but other than that, the assault is really good.
Oh yeah, because now all their las cannon shots are wounded knights on 3s instead of just a big one.
Totally.
That could be useful. Executioner, couple more big shots, and then a lot of other shots, and also carrying your Eradicators.
Yes, really good combo.
Yeah, because for those who missed earlier, there's a strat for getting back in and stuff. There's
a strat for getting back in, which is really situational, but the strat for if you shoot the transport, the things inside get out and shoot you back is really powerful with the Eradicators.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, I knew there was a strat one that was good for that. Then 2 Storm Speeder Hammer Strikes.
Yep, stripping cover, going fast, assault, rapid fire, +1 strength. They love all the buffs in this.
And how fast do they move?
They move 14 with fly.
Nice. That's not bad at all.
And they're OC3, so they're going to out OC most stuff that's out in the middle earlier.
Yeah, most other little vehicles. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a pretty solid list.
Yeah, it could be a really fun list. And you know what? Go ahead.
I said lacking on combat, but that's not what this list is designed to do. You have Logan's squad, and then the Thunderwolves for a little bit of combat to just basically protect all this shooting.
Yeah, that is the goal with the combat. You're not trying to push people. You're not trying to get in their face early on with combat, but you're just trying to grind them and halt to a halt in the middle so your guns can just point at them and delete them.
Yeah, basically, like, I'm lighting you up. Oh, you want to come over here? We'll deal with Logan and two Thunderwolf squads while I keep lighting you up.
Exactly.
That's interesting. I like that.
It's a really fun list. And actually, you know what? I do want to try that Grey Hunter Draxus combo in another detachment. It could work in most other attachments, but it's just an interesting little thing.
Yeah, no, that's really good. All right, so we got something wrong with the Grey Hunter loadout. All right, that's nothing to worry about. All right, so this is a 2,000-point Firestorm list, which, just like First Company, I think this is a list that could win you some little RTTs or something.
Totally.
Probably not winning a big event, but this isn't an 0-4 list. You could go 3-2 with this list at a GT probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get a little luck, maybe sneak in a 4-1 with pairings and stuff.
Totally. If you want to run this style of list, which is mainly shooting heavy, probably Gladius or probably Ironstorm is a little bit better. Ironstorm gives rerolls, gives more damage. Gladius gives more mobility and some damage. Maybe not more mobility, but it gives buffs to other parts of the army.
Yeah.
But I think this is a pretty solid niche, Fast gun, good.
Yeah, because there's actually this kid named Charlie I know who's in the one of my Discords. He likes playing wolves, but he loves Firestorm. He calls his army the Firewolves. So
the Firewolves, wasn't that a company or something, or am I making that up?
Possibly. I couldn't tell you for sure. Back in the day, I used to know most of our lore, but then for like the first 15, 20 years I played, the lore was stagnant, didn't move. And then as I got older and working and more and mostly just playing, I couldn't keep up with lore as much. Now the lore has expanded so much that I probably don't know as much as I wanted. Hunter Nichols said Firewolves is a company.
Mm-hmm. Firehouse.
One of the great companies. Cool.
Yeah.
Firehounds, yeah. All right, well, all right, so we're only at 49 minutes. Do you want to try to jump into another one, or you got anything else you want to get into?
We might want to.
Yes, we'd be kind of rushing through one if we were trying to be done at an hour. But if you wanted to go a little longer, we could try to do another one.
Up to you. I'm down. We could chat wolves. We could go through another detachment. We could, anything.
All right. Do you guys have any recommendations for an attachment you want us to see us try to build real quick, or other than the new ones, Gladius, Stormlance? Like, we kind of know what those are. We're trying to get into some that are a little more out in the weeds.
Yeah, any niche detachments that you would love to see explored with wolves.
Yep, or any other questions or stuff. Like, we could just do a Q&A here for the end. Any other... Well, Beast Slayer, like all the ones from the new book, like everybody has done a lot of builds on. And Stormlance and Gladius, a lot of people have built. So we're trying not to jump into those right now. We'll get into those later on.
Yeah, we will do those for sure. Peaches is saying Vanguard, Spearhead, try out 2 to 3 Bloodclaw squads.
All right,
interesting.
All right, let's go. I'll get this set up if you want to pull up Vanguard.
I'll pull up Vanguard. So here's Vanguard's rule. When each time a range attack targets a friendly Adeptus Astartes unit, if your unit is outside of 12, -1 to hit and cover. So what this does, it gives you a lot of durability at range, which is quite powerful. I mean, a lot of the most powerful armies in the game do have heavy shooting. So -1 to hit and cover outside 12 inches is always really good. The enhancements, there are actually some really good enhancements. There is a Vect enhancement, can go on any Phobos model. Yeah. That's really good. So you can have 2 areas of Vect on the board. There is Shoot and Scoot for Phobos, not very quite good. There is a Stealth and Lone Out for any Adeptus Astartes model, which is very good. I mean, you can put it on any unit. Then here's the big one, Adeptus Astartes infantry model. While this model is leading a unit, everything in it has infiltrate. So, is your mind going to where my mind's going?
I don't know. Where's your mind going?
Infiltrating 21 blood claws, 9 inches from your opponent's deployment zone.
That's interesting. I was also thinking infiltrating some head takers.
Head takers could be really good in this. Let's look
Yep.
at the strats. So it's defense. So there's defensive. The detachment rule gives you defensive range, which is good. Deadly prize is any command phase, infantry or mounted, sticky is an objective, and it like lays a mine, and whoever walks on it takes D3 and of your opponent's D3 mortals. So that's really good. Sticky objective is really good. Armor of Contempt, pretty standard. Surgical strikes. Adeptus Astartes infantry get precision in melee. So that's kind of powerful. We have actually quite a lot of good infantry melee. So getting them precision is good. Head takers kind of get it most of the time anyway, because if you're attacking your quarry, getting on a wolf would be really funny. 3 damage melee. That's 2 CP though, which is quite pretty damn expensive. Strike from the shadows. Infantry unit, if you are targeting something outside of 12 inches and shooting, you get +1 AP and +1 ballistic skill. And then they take a battle shock. So that's kind of good. There aren't a lot of infantry units. Let me think about this. I mean, there are quite a few infantry units that would love +1 ballistic skill, +1 AP now that I'm thinking about it. Calculated feint. Adept starts infantry. Once your opponent declares them as a charge, in their charge phase, you move D6, or if it's Scout or Phobos, you move flat 6. So that's quite good, is making your opponent's charge D6 harder. And then end of your opponent's fight phase, 2, this is a redeploy, so 2 Phobos or Scout to go back in reserve, or 1 other Adept Astartes infantry.
So that could be useful, because you could do that on head takers, Wolfguard Terminators, a big Bloodclaw Brick going back into reserve. Like, there's a lot of play there with that just strat.
There is a lot of play, but let's see if we can get some Bloodclaw squads in here.
Yes.
The question I have is, this is giving you durability at range, which is really good for big infantry squads, because they need durability before they get into combat.
Yeah, because when I was first looking at Vanguard, my first thought was, oh, durability at range, but we're trying to get close. But then I was like, well, we might not necessarily be getting close to all their shooting. I could be charging something on the left flank. They try to shoot me from something over on the right flank. I'm getting the protection from it.
Totally. Mm-hmm. But I do love, let's start with this idea, the Wolf Priest and 20 Blood Claws. Wolf Priest with Infiltrate, 20 Blood Claws. Because Wolf Priest gives them +1 to hit wound in melee, so it's a melee buff. It gives them Healing Eye, which is movement and defensive buffs, and they get Infiltrate. So this is just really obnoxious and really funny.
Yep. All right, let's see. And which the Blade Driven Deep, that's the one, right?
Blade Driven Deep.
All right, 25 points, but yeah, that's
hefty.
Yeah, all right, so then we're going to give him, nope, Battle Line. Blood Claws. 20 of them. 19, just to get the Sergeant in there.
Yep.
All right, 270 points, but that's 20 Marine bodies.
20 Marine bodies with Infiltrate, -1 to hit, and cover all the time.
Yeah.
So they're
and
quite
this
powerful.
detachment, we're using some strats in this detachment.
Yeah, the strats for sticky, the strats for probably calculated feint, potentially go back into reserve, potentially what else? Potentially strike from the shadows for +1 AP and +1 ballistic skill.
So I'd think, do we want Bjorn in this detachment?
You could include him. I mean, he likes -1 to hit and cover outside of 12.
That's what I was thinking. And I think Logan's pretty. We just have to take Logan and everything.
Logan is such a pillar, man. He's such a yeah.
And so if we're taking him, we're giving him a squad because we're not running him by himself.
Yep.
All right, so we give Logan some Wolfguard Terminators. I'm not going to do all their kit out, but it's 4 shield hammer, 1 axe. That's how we like to run it. We
do like it. Peach is saying 2 10-mans just running up. I mean, yeah, 10-mans are quite good, just running up the field. Here's an idea, and let me know if you think this is dumb. If you had to run 30 Wolfen and Murder Fang, 60 Wolfen and Murder Fang, what detachment would you run it in?
Beast Slayer.
You'd say Beast Slayer for lethals and Blood Surge. Okay.
Blood Surge. You can attach the character to one of the units, so you have that OC running up the table with them.
Totally. But here's another idea.
Also,
What if-
Stormlance. Stormlance would be another good one.
Stormlance, yeah. What if they all could have -1 hit and cover running up the board?
Don't hate that.
Don't hate that at all, right?
No.
I don't know. I'm just kind of making it up. I don't normally run Vanguard, so I'm curious what.
Well, you know who's going to like getting those buffs? Units that want to sit back at 24 inches and rapid fire shoot you.
I mean, yes, you cannot go wrong with Predator Annihilators and Iron Priests.
Yeah. So I think we got to add the double Priest, double Annihilator. I think that's just one Priest is, I think, needs to be in every list, and 2 is not
Totally.
really that big an investment.
So hear me out on the Max Wolfen build in Vanguard.
Yeah.
You need them to get OC, so you need Wolf Priests. But you can give a Wolf Priest lone up in stealth. So that way the Wolf Priest can stand in the middle by himself, giving everyone lone up. Kind of interesting.
All right, let's say this. Let's go. Where are they? Oh, no, wrong one.
You could do MSU Wolfen, 4x5 or what is it? 6x5 MSU Wolfen. Running around, kind of hard to shift. They wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, what do you like? You like the 6 5-mans or just the full 3 10-mans? I think if you're running the hammer with the shields, because we're trying to tech into durability, I think the invul guys are the way to go.
Invulns are the way
plus
to go.
Their
Yeah.
shield, plus their attacks are better.
Yeah,
less, but they hit better.
Yeah, they like a lot of stuff that this attachment's doing. Again, durability before they get into combat is always good.
And you wanted another Wolf Priest with the Lona.
Mm-hmm. To give them OC.
All right. Oops.
And that is Ghost Weave Cloak.
Ghost Weave Cloak. All right, so that leaves us 110 points. All right, so we could. So basically, it'd be 1 unit or Fenrisian Wolves and 1 unit. So we can take 70 points. We could take Scouts and the Fenrisian squads because Scouts get some buffs in this detachment.
Scouts really do like this attachment.
Or we could take your Combi Lieutenant with the Fenrisian Wolves.
Oh, Peach is saying, don't forget Cav are stupid durable here. You're totally right. -1 to hit and cover out in the open. If you're outside of 12, that's really durable.
So you want to do 20 Wolfen, 2 3-mans of Calv? Because we only got 100. I guess we could do 1 Cav here, but that leaves us 10 points. And we're not getting Scouts or Fenrisian Wolves. We don't have a lot of real mission play.
I would say 20 Wolfen and
double Wolf.
Yeah, because you only have 20 Wolfen, you don't need the lone up Wolf Priest because you don't have that many Wolfen. So that would clear up quite a bit of points.
And if you're infiltrating or moving up the other Wolf Priest with the Blood Claws, he could be helping OC them a little bit too.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. And then you have Bjorn in this list, right?
I'm pretty sure we put Bjorn in.
Bjorn also gives them OC. Yeah.
Yes, we have Bjorn. All right, so let's see. We're going to drop 1 Wolfen.
And 1, yep.
Add some Thunderwolves. Yep. I think that's a great call.
And, good point, Peaches. One of the really good strats is sticky in any command phase. So you run up, you kill something on the objective, you sticky at the start of their turn with a infantry or mounted. So that's where Thunderwolf Cavalry get really good. Thunderwolf Cavalry are really good in this attachment.
All right, so now we have 195 points left.
Fun. I mean, we've got some tanks, right? We got some Predators. We've got some Iron Priests.
Yeah. Yeah, so because if we
this does benefit infantry shooting. I'm thinking of what good infantry shooting. There's Eradicators, there's Hellblasters, there's Desolators, there is
Grey Hunters,
Devastators. There's Inceptor. What do you say? Grey Hunters? Grey Hunters. Oh my God. I mean, honestly, Grey Hunters outside of 12 with +1 AP. No, it's not that good. It's not that good.
No. Take a fortification.
Yeah, that'd be funny. Rapid fire on a fortification, by the way.
Oh, and we didn't take the second Vect.
We could take the second Vect on a combi lieutenant. That could be really good. Basically, your entire opponent's army is.
Oh, is a combi lieutenant Phobos?
Combi lieutenant's Phobos, unless I'm mistaken. I'll check.
Yeah, because if he is, I don't hate that.
Yeah, lieutenant with combi weapon has Phobos, so he can have Vect, a reactive moving Lona Vect aura. That's so good.
Why have we not done this before? Lieutenant and combi.
The other option is a Gravis captain with lone up and stealth. That's also really powerful.
Shadow War veteran, is that the
Shadow War veteran? Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah. So he's 100 points now.
So now you have two sources of Vect. They're both obnoxious to deal with.
Do we 5 points to do the 3 with the Calidus?
The Calidus, yeah. Do a third third Vector. Your entire opponent's army is
just
Vector.
do the whole meme. All right,
you
so
know what? Honestly, let's find 5 points and let's do it. That would be really funny.
All right. So Predators. Right,
do you have 1 Iron Priest or 2?
2.
I would take 1 out because you only have 2 tanks. If you only have 2 tanks, it's not worth. I mean, yeah, you do want it, but
so if we're only going to do 2 tanks, because he's 60 points, so maybe we turn one of these into a Lancer or something, because a regular Predator without the rapid fire isn't that great.
Yes, 1 into a Lancer would be great. Take out 1 of the Iron Priests, and then we add in
Gladiator Lancer. This app is annoying. It works so much better on the phone.
It does.
And then we will remove the Iron Priest. All right, so now we have 30 points because we put the Callus in. I believe she's still 100 points.
100 points, yep. 30 points doesn't really get you much. You could upgrade a squad to do something, but not really much you would want to upgrade here.
No.
Predator, maybe one of the. Here's another idea. Dang, that would be 35 points. But I was thinking you could upgrade one of the 3-man cavalry to a 10-man blood claw. It'd be kind of the same idea. Just a skirmishing piece that's like a bunch of OC,
Yeah, I guess you could go double Lancer and drop the Predator, but I like the Predator.
Predator's good.
Yeah, Thunderwolves, Wolfman, Terminators, Blood Claws, Priest, Combi Lieutenant, Priest.
That's going to bother me so much. When you have 30 points left over, you can't spend it on 30 Wolves.
I mean, we could always drop Bjorn. Just not that gives another 200 points, and we could put your second squad of Wolfen back in.
Yeah.
Or your third squad of Wolfen back in.
The question is, are we going to be using a bunch of strats? Sticky objective is going to be maybe twice a game. Armor of Contempt, it depends on how often you use that.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see you using a lot of strats in this detachment.
And you can always discard a card to get one.
Yeah.
I love you, Bjorn. Let's drop Bjorn, and we'll go back to your... Now,
Triple
do we go
Wolfen.
triple Wolfen, or do we go triple T-Wolf and make one of them a 6-man?
Ooh, a 6-man Thunderwolves. They can't get any melee buffs. So that's kind of, they don't do as much damage as you think they do. Strength 5, like just without any melee buffs is not cutting it. I like Wolfen with Storm Shields because they don't need any melee buffs into most targets.
All right, and so that's 19, but that's the Calidus. So now we have 3 Vex, 1 on a Lone Op Lieutenant, 1 on a redeploying Calidus, and 1 on Logan, deep striking turn 1. Most likely, if you want him to, with 5 Terminators, it's hard to shift on an 80 mil base.
But also, Logan can come in on turn 1. Both the Calidus and the guy infiltrate. Calidus redeploys, but you can redeploy Logan or the Lone Op Lieutenant.
With the strat, yeah. Like
and you have an infiltrating 20-man Blood Claw.
You can start Calidus on table, pick her up, drop her and Logan both turn 1, mid-board places and be like, you're not getting OC all
Literally,
game.
yeah, no strats. Like your opponent's entire army is going to be covered with Vect. That is so funny.
I don't know if this is good, but this will annoy the crap
This
out of
will
me.
annoy the shit out of your opponent. And also think about how many 4-up invulns are in this list that are -1 to hit and cover. All the Wolfens, all the Thundercav, all the Terminators.
I want to take this to a team event, and when the people look at the list, they're like, can you beat this? Yeah, but I don't want to fucking deal with that.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, I'll pass on it. This is so funny, man. I love this.
Yep. Dude, I really like this list, honestly. This would
It's
be
funny
fun.
because these are really not seen detachments.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you can see
that's what I was telling you earlier. The Space Wolf little bit that we get, Iron Priest, our combat, can make almost any detachment can be viable and win games when you add Space Wolf units into it.
Yeah, totally. Peaches is saying drop a Blood Claw squad and try head takers in their place with wolves if points allow. Yeah, I mean, I thought about instead of a Wolfen squad with those extra 30 points, maybe you do a 6-man head takers or something.
Yeah, but we only had one Blood Claw squad, so we can't drop it, or we could drop it to a 10-man, but we didn't take multiple. We only took the 120.
Head takers could be good in this attachment. The one thing with head takers, if they don't have any access to +1 to wound, you need to take them with Wolf Priest, right? If the detachment like Beastslayer or Hunter or Gladius all have access to +1 to wound in strat form, if you don't have that, you really want to take them with the Wolf Priest because they don't, unless they're against their quarry, they're not doing as much damage as you want them to do. Yeah.
Well, I've been running on Bold without it though, but I run them with Ragnar.
Oh, Ragnar slams.
And there's so many attacks at strength 5 to 6, -2 that even without the +1, they still shift most stuff fairly decently.
I bet they do. Well,
in that detachment, they have access to lethal too. So.
Oh yeah, lethals is really good, especially with all those attacks.
Yeah, +1's better, but lethal helps.
This would be such a funny list. I would love to run this at a team event, like you said.
Oh yeah, cool. Well, we got 3, I think, pretty viable lists that you could take to an event and not feel like you have no chance.
Totally.
Like some of them can get countered by certain things. So you probably, like we keep saying, you're not going to win with these detachments a major, but you can win your local RTT. You could maybe a little 50-man 5-round if the pairings go your way. You could win stuff like that with these. All 3 of these, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all of these have their own strengths. They're all kind of different builds. You know what I mean? Which is really cool to see that Space Wolves have multiple different builds within this codex.
Yeah, and just a few games I've had where Logan on his 80 mil survived for 3 turns in the middle of the army, and they can't do half the stuff they would do with strats. I can't imagine having the 3. This would be fun, even if I lost every game, just annoying the crap out of people.
Annoying the shit out of your opponent.
It would be hilarious.
And you're like running away when they charge you and they fail the charge. You're like, I don't want to spend 2 CP on the reroll. Like that would be so funny.
Yeah, the low nap guy moves away, then runs from their charge, then redeploys. Oh my God.
Logan is just stupid durable, man. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to run away from Logan. Okay, well, he's going back into reserve and going to deep strike back in.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Oh, I like this. All right, cool. Well, we're at an hour and 10. We've got 3 list builds, so I think that's a pretty good night.
Pretty solid night. I had a blast.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. All right, anybody, any last questions or any last thoughts before Aiden and I get up out of here?
Been playing Wolves. Peaches is saying, been playing Wolves since 7th edition. All about the fun wolf combos. Yeah. Really fun.
Yeah, I've been playing since 2nd. Yeah, so trust me, sometimes Wolves just do stuff that's so enjoyable.
They have really cool character combos. I mean, even in the index, I've been playing since 10th. But yeah, even playing Space Wolf since 10th. Even in the index, the character combos are really fun.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, thank you, Aiden. As always, it's always a blast. It's always fun.
Great time.
Like I was tired before we started, but I'm all hyped now. Like these lists have been fun, and that last is especially. Like I'm freaking. That's hilarious.
Super fun. Yeah, I think I was in the same boat. I was a little tired coming in, but seeing how these like really niche skew builds could be really fun to play.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, Aiden. Thank you guys for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that cool stuff. And we will catch you guys next time.
Catch you all later. See ya.
Thank you for watching Almost Functional Gaming. We appreciate the support of all followers of Russ and the Allfather. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out our merch store and Almost Functional Score Tracker on Amazon. Everything helps support the growth of this channel, and we appreciate it.